Shalom, shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to the eternal Father of heaven and earth, Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yahweh Shah. All praises due. Shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharala, children of the Father, and peace and blessings to you Gentiles too as well. All praises due. I pray that y'all have been strong in this word and just meditating on the previous lessons and just taking it in and just moving forward and continue to fight this good fight. Today I wanted to go over something and I want to do a quick disclaimer. This is no hate speech. It isn't anything against any particular organization. It's only the truth that comes from the holy word of the Most High. All praises due. And bear with me, y'all. Feeling a little sluggish today, but I gotta get this video out anyway. All praises. But I wanted to talk about religion. And is it okay to participate in? Is it legit? Is it something that you should claim or take hold of? And I'm here to tell y'all through the scriptures, man, religion is not the route to go down. It's not something that you should hold tight on to. And I'm going to prove it through the scriptures today. So, with further ado, I want to start off with the definition of religion. Right? Religion means, and you can look this up on Adam Online, it means state of life bound by monastics vows, action or conduct indicating a belief in a divine power and reverence for a desire to please it. Right? Didn't say the divine power, the creator, in a divine power. Right? That's where you get idol worship. Alright, let's continue to read. Religion, piety, devotion. And directly from Latin, religium. Respects for what is sacred. Reverence for the gods. Lowercase g. And consensuous sense of right, moral obligation, fear of the gods, divine service, religious observance, right? And a religion, faith, a made of worship, and I want y'all to hear this, cult, sanctity, holiness, right? Monastic life. So, y'all already know what I'm probably going to hit, and that thing that stands out is cult. You know, and that's exactly what religion leans towards and is similar to a cult. Well, it is actually, in a sense, you know, because religion calls separation, right? It calls separation and division. You know, when I bring up the scriptures, I never tie it into religion because I know where religion comes from, you know. And I never tie it into religious beliefs or religion because the scriptures is a holy word and it's the true word of the creator of everything, right? So I never claimed to be religious or a part of any religion organization. Because the truth is the scriptures. Now you got people that manipulate it, like the church house, and they make a religion surrounding the word Christianity, right? So they turn something that is good into manipulate it and turn it into their own likeness, right? So I'm gonna go here real quick because a lot of these church houses got everybody misconstrued. They put a burden on you, say, oh, you don't go to the church house, you ain't gonna make it to heaven. You're going to hell. You're going to hell. You ain't gonna make it to heaven. You ain't going, if you don't tithe, you're going to hell. They call people Gentiles too. They say everybody is a Gentile, right? Us, especially us, right? So-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. They totally discredit what the true Jews are and its relevance today. Its relevancy, right? They totally discredit it. And they manipulate a lot of things to benefit them, to have control and power. And these pastors, they know. They just can't say certain things, right? And then they benefit off the money. See, these churches are paid by, what is it? It escapes me what it's called, 503c charter or something like that. And basically, they paid by the government, and they ask for tithes anyway. No one knows where these tithes are going, right? They expect you to give your last, right? And the Most High doesn't revolve itself around money. It's carnal, you know. And I could go in this to deeper, but I want to stay on the topic of religion. But I'm gonna just tell you like some of the things like with the tithing that related to the Levites back in the ancient times, right? And the tithing didn't mean that you had to give money. They were tithing to the Levites. The rest of the tribes were tithing to the Levites food because they're always on the road teaching the gospel, right? And they couldn't stay in their own area to raise their cattle farms and have food for themselves, right? So they would give them a percentage of what was in their storehouse, right? Which was their meat and all that type of stuff, and fruits and vegetables. That's what it dealt with. But no, the church house wants to manipulate the word and construct it to where it would benefit them today. And they robbing people, right? See, the Most High doesn't care for filthy lucre. He doesn't. Money, like Yahushua said, he said, give unto Caesar what is Caesar, and give unto the Most High what is the Most High's, right? It's spiritual before it's carnal, right? You see somebody on the streets, they need help, give them some food, right? Be genuine, be kind, be peaceful, right? No matter what they have went through, right? Hey, help them out. That's how you that's part of showing the works, right? So, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this first precept right quick. All right, so I'm gonna go to Acts chapter 7. We're gonna start in verse 45. And it reads, years later, when Joshua led our ancestors into battle against the nations of the Most High, drove out of this land, the tabernacle was taken with them into their new territory, and it stayed there until the time of King David. David found favor with the Most High and asked for the privilege of building a permanent temple for the father of Jacob. But it was Solomon who actually built it. Now, I want y'all to hear what it says in the next verse. Because the church houses love to say the church is for the Most High. But I tell you now, where there's two or three or more in the name of the Father and the beloved Son, there he is in the midst of us. Right? Check this out. Verse 48. However, the Most High doesn't live in temples made by human hands, as the prophet says, right? He doesn't live in these church houses, right? He actually refers them to whorehouses in the scriptures because they teach vain, false doctrine, right? And they revolve themselves around religion, right? Instead of spreading the truth, they spread lies and manipulate the scriptures, right? They don't even tell the history of the scriptures. They don't even tell who the 12 tribes are, right? And there's relevancy today, which should be mentioned, right? So it says, verse 49, heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. Could you build me a temple as good as that? Asked the Lord, could you build me such a resting place? Didn't my hands make both the heavens and earth? You stubborn people, you are heathen at the heart and deaf to the truth. Must you forever resist the Holy Spirit? That's what your ancestors did, and so do you, right? So there's nothing that we can build the Most High, right? We are his temple. He dwells within us through Hamashiach, right? So when somebody tells you, you don't go to church, you're going to go to hell, no, that's not the case, especially if that church is teaching vain, false doctrine. We can have church right here. That's what we're doing. Where we're gathered together, speaking in the truth, speaking the word, edifying one another with the gospels. You get on the phone with somebody, you go over scriptures, you're having church. You're spreading the gospel, right? So don't let nobody tell you that, you got to go to church. No. Especially if they speaking false, vain doctrine. You don't want to even be surrounded by it, right? So it says in verse 52, name one prophet your ancestors didn't persecute. They even killed ones who predicted the coming of the righteous one, the Messiah, whom you betrayed and murdered. How can they crucify him again today? Well, they try any other way to go get into the kingdom rather than the blood of Hamashiach Yahushua. And they put him to open shame. Right? So these church houses, these camps, other religions, and people tend to say, well, I don't want to, talk about any other's beliefs or faith or anything. I believe everybody should have their. Listen, you can't be a respecter of persons when you're speaking on the scriptures. You can't. There's only one true creator. There's many gods, fallen angels, right? But there's only one true creator of all things. And if you tend to think it's okay for these other religions to do what they do and blaspheme the Most High, that's on you. But I'm not, because I'm going to call it how it is. There's only one true word of God, and that is the scriptures. The scriptures don't teach you to do anything bad. That's for one. Two, prophecies have revealed themselves and they came to pass. Right? And you have all these other religions mimicking and copying the true doctrine, the true word of the Most High. Right? I've even heard that there is Yahushua was mentioned in other religions, right? But you'll never hear about Buddha. You'll never hear about other ones like Muhammad and etc. in the scriptures, and it's for a reason, And one thing I do take heed to is that these fallen angels are very crafty, and they could have revealed themselves to these certain groups of people around the world, and they seen them, and they're like, "Oh shit, this is God," essentially, and they believed it, just like the devil does, right? Deception, right? Because they never seen nothing like it before. That's why you got you got the Egyptian hieroglyphics, all that, man. They probably really encountered these fallen angels, like dead ass, right? But why believe them, right? you know, they look at it and they be like, "Oh shit, never seen nothing like this before," right? But as you've seen in the scriptures, the angels lie too. They lie too, right? That's why it says, "Put your trust in the Most High, not in man or anything else," right? So let's go ahead and go to Jeremiah 23:1. I want to bring this one out too, right? See, we went over the definition of religion, right? If that's not enough for you, we're going to hammer it down with these precepts, all praises. So let's go there. Uh, we're going to read it in the KJV and the NLT because it's two different wordings. But I want to read the KJV because this really hits home, right? So we're going to Jeremiah 23:1, right? And it reads, "Woe be unto the pastors." That word sound familiar, huh? "That destroy and scatter of my pasture, saith the Lord." He said, "Woe," right? Which means danger, right? So the same stuff that was mentioned all the way back then, is it a coincidence that we have that same stuff going on in today's age? Nah. You got many pastors that scatter the sheep, your own people, right? And spreading misinformation, manipulating the scriptures, uh, and just basically scattering the sheep. You know, they're sheep in wolves' clothing. Well, they're wolves in sheep's clothing, I should say, right? So, and I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next preset. So I'm gonna go to Acts. Going back to Acts real quick. We're gonna go to chapter 17. All right. And we're gonna start in verse 1. All right. Yep, let's start in verse 1. And it says, "Paul and Silas then traveled through the towns of Apollos and Apollonia." So, like about if I pronounce that wrong, and came to Thessalonica, where was a Jew synagogue. As Paul custom, as was Paul's customs, he went to the synagogue service, and for there in 3 Sabbaths in a row, he used the scriptures to reason with the people. He explained the prophecies and provided that the Messiah must suffer and rise from the dead. He said, "This Yahushua I'm telling you about is the Messiah." Some of the Jews who listened were persuaded and joined Paul and Silas, along with many other God-fearing Greek men and quite a few prominent women, right? And it says, "But some of the Jews were jealous." Do y'all hear that? See, going over this, man, it's starting to dig up more and more stuff that we hadn't already been over. You remember we went over Romans 11? You know how the Most High is making the Jews jealous, courtesy of the grafting in of the Gentiles. But some people don't believe it. Oh, Gentiles mean Northern Kingdom. You got to read it and take it for what it is. See, I'm going to start from the top, verse 5. No, verse 4. It says, some of the Jews who listened were persuaded, and John, Paul, and Silas, along with many other God-fearing Greek men and quite a few prominent women. Greeks are the Gentiles, right? But look what it says right here. It says, verse 5, but some of the Jews were jealous. Why? So they gathered some troublemakers from the marketplace to form a mob and start a riot. They attacked the home of Jason, searching for Paul and Silas so they could drag them through the crowd. See, Paul even said it. He said the Father, he wants Israel. He wants the Jews back. And he's going to do whatever it takes, man. And he's trying to unharden people's hearts by grafting in these Gentiles, right? And in the process, all praises, the Gentiles are saved too, right? Through faith, right? It's not, doesn't mean they're replacing anybody, because the Father has the power to graft in, to bring the ones that broken off back in if they repent, right? And it worked. They were jealous. They were jealous, right? Because the word was being distributed now into the Gentiles. You can't run from that. You know, so it says in verse let's go back to verse 4 again. Acts 17:4. Some of the Jews who listened were persuaded and joined Paul and Silas along with many God-fearing Greek men and quite a few prominent women, right? So you had some Jews and then you had God-fearing Greeks, right? It says, but some of the Jews were jealous. Wonder why? So they gathered some troublemakers from the marketplace to form a mob and start a riot. They attacked the home of Jason, searching for Paul and Silas so they could drag them out to the crowd. Not finding them there, they dragged out Jason and some of the other believers instead and took them before the city council. Paul and Silas have caused trouble all over the world, right? They shouted, and now they are here disturbing our city too. And Jason has welcomed them into the home. They are guilty of treason against Caesar, for they profess alliance to another king named Yahushua. Right. So sounds just like the Pharisees, man. They didn't appreciate the teachings of Yahushua or anything. They didn't take reverence, right? And just totally just disregarded the word. Right. So it says in verse 8. The people of the city, as well as the city council, were thrown into turmoil by these reports. So the officials forced Jason and the other believers to post bond, and then they released them. Right. So it says in verse 10, that very night the believers sent Paul and Silas to Berea. When they arrived there, they went to the Jews' synagogue, and the people of Berea were more open-minded than those in Thessalonica, and they listened eagerly to Paul's message. They searched the scriptures day after day to see if Paul and Silas were teaching the truth As a result, many Jews believed, and many of the prominent Greek women and men, right? So you had many Jews that believed, like it said, and then you had the Greeks, which were the Gentiles, that believed as well. And it says in verse 13, but when some Jews in Thessalonica learned that Paul was approaching the word of God in Berea, they went there and stirred up trouble. Just you know, just like you got people today, man, just trying to stir up trouble, right? Verse 14: the believers acted at once, sending Paul onto the coast, while Silas and Timothy were remained behind. Give me one sec, y'all. All right. Verse 15 says, those escorting Paul went with him all the way to Athens. Then they returned to Berea with instructions for Silas and Timothy to hurry and join him. Verse 16, it says, while Paul was waiting for them in Athens, he was deeply troubled by all the idols he saw everywhere in the city. Right, and I'm gonna give a comparison in the KJV for these verses real quick. Well, actually, one verse I'm gonna get to it, but it says in verse 17, he went to the synagogues to reason with the Jews and the God-fearing Gentiles. Right, so you know he was talking to Jews and he was also talking to the Gentiles. It doesn't make sense for people to call the Northern Kingdom the Gentiles, right? Because it's not mentioning that. It's describing two distinguished groups of people, right? Jews consist of everybody, all the 12 tribes of Israel, right? So you know it's not talking about Northern Kingdom when it says Gentiles. All praises. So it says, and he spoke daily in the public square, right? All who happened to be there. He also had a debate with some of the Slavic, if I pronounce this wrong, Kurin, I think, and it says in Stoic philosopher, right? So when he told them about Yahushua and his resurrection, they said, what is this babbler trying to say with these strange ideas he's picked up? Others said he seems to be preaching about the foreign gods, right? Same thing they do today. Then they took him to the high council of the city. Come and tell us about this new teaching, they said. You are saying some rather strange things, and we want to know what it's all about, right? And it says in verse 21, it should be explained that all the Athenians, as it's like if I pronounce that wrong, Athenians as well as the foreigners in Athens seem to spend all their time discussing the latest ideas, right? So I'm gonna stop right there. Do comparisons for this next verse. KJV is Acts 17 and 22. It says, then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill. He said, ye men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are too superstitious, right? Too superstitious. And I want y'all to read this comparisons in the NLT because it's going to trip you out. But let's look up what superstitious mean, right? So superstitious means involving faith in supernatural powers or magic, characteristics of pagan religion or false religion, right? Superstitious, prophetic, right? So it says excessive fear of the gods, lowercase g. All right, so that's what it means. Now, going to the NLT, it says Acts 17 and 22. It says, so Paul, standing before the council, addresses them as follows. Yeah, it says follows. It says, men of Athens, I notice that you are very, look here, religious in every way. So religious is the same, can be the same as superstitious. And we just read what superstitious meant, right? It means supernatural powers, magic, right? Or pagan religion or false religion, right? So this is why we shouldn't affiliate ourselves with religious beliefs or religion, because all it does is separates from the true word of the Most High. So I pray this was edifying to y'all, and gives y'all extra boost, Salakia, you know, for any missteps. Told y'all at the start, moving kind of sluggish, but all praises for this word because it has an answer for everything, right? So this is why I don't myself claim to be a religious person or religion, right? I claim to know the truth and the word of the Father and of his beloved Son, right? It says the truth will set you free, and it indeed did for me, right? So now you know, uh, what religion is. It's all constructed by these governments, and some people might have encountered real life fallen angels, right? So, and was deceived by them as well. There's only true uh word of the Father, right? And that is the scriptures. It's been proven. Things have happened, right? So all praises. And I'm going to just read this one more time. It says, verse 22. So Paul, standing before the council, addressed them as follows. Men of Athens, I notice that you are a very religious in every way, right? Very superstitious in every way. So vain, false doctrine things, right? All praises. It says, for as I was walking along, I saw your many shrines, right? They had many shrines, many idols, right? Just like you have in these other religions today. And they all see one thing that I want y'all, to know. There's always truth in every lie. You can't have a lie without the truth, a bit of the truth in it, right? No matter if you say, hey, uh, your shoes are blue and you know good damn well that they're green, right? You had to mention the shoe, right? They do got shoes on, but they're just not that specific color, right? So there's truth, and there's truth in every lie, right? So that's why these other religions seem similar to the scriptures, right? So just don't be deceived out there, y'all. I pray this anybody's listening, that's new. I pray this, hits your spirit, and just continue to push. And if you're taking heed to it, all praises. Don't take my word for it. Study to show yourself approved. This religion caused separation and damage to people, and put burdens on them, right? So it says in verse 23, for as I was walking along, I saw your many shrines, and one of your altars has this in the inscription on it, to an unknown God. This is God whom you worship without knowing is the one I'm telling you about, right? Because they didn't know of the Father and his beloved Son, right? So that's the one that Paul mentioned to him. All praises. I love y'all out there, you Jews, children of the Most High, and peace and blessings to you Gentiles out there too. This message is just as for you as it is for the Jews. Come out of them church houses or any other vain religion out there. The religion called separations, and it's instituted by the governments and all these wicked fallen angels. So I pray that this is edifying to y'all, and it keeps y'all uplifted. I know it did for me. I was feeling kind of slow today and down, and all praises the Most High. Just stirred me up to bring this out. So I love everybody. Peace and blessings. And all praises, honor, and glory goes to the eternal Father of heaven and earth, Yahweh, Bashem, Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. All praises due. Peace. I'm out. Shalom.